What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Games review. This time, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Phil Shoemaker.
Hi, I'm Phil. I've been playing The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Heyo! I can't tell you, we went live. I did not have the title in my head, so I was like, pretty sure it's this, but, I wasn't 100% sure. There was a non-zero chance that I was going to mess that up and we were going to start over, all right? But we're here. We're here. Phil, you've been playing The Legend of Zelda. I have not gotten around to it yet, but I do plan on playing it at some time soon, and I'm hoping that this review is the thing that pushes me towards it. So, for context, have you beaten the game? How much have you played of the game?
I have not beaten the game. I am roughly 3/4 of the way.
Okay. What would that translate to hours?
I would say probably 11 hours-ish.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. So, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, the new Zelda game, but this time actually focused around Zelda, Princess Zelda. You play as her, sort of create little echoes, as I believe they call them, where you just kind of copy and paste items everywhere and so forth. So I'm very excited to hear what your thoughts are on the game. What do you think of Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom?
Well, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is a great game. I think that this is it's a lot like your typical 2D Zelda format, with kind of the exploration and open-ended puzzle solving of like your Tears of the Kingdom type joints, as you would say. And it's really satisfying and like really engaging, all these puzzles, because like early on, you are drip fed isn't correct because it's faster than that. It's you're very steadily adding all of these echoes to kind of your repertoire, that you kind of go through and use, and eventually you start getting enemies that you can copy and they'll come to your defense, which some of them are definitely better than others, and some of these enemy types are also used in puzzle solving themselves.
Ooh.
Like sometimes there are these like crystals that need to be activated by electricity, so you need like an electric keys, like one of those bats, or you need one of these like little zap blob things that'll do it, and you can combo that with like some of the weather around you. So like if you have an electric type enemy and it's raining, it'll be like a big circle of electric energy that'll be like a much larger field of electricity to help you hit more things, and it's really, really cool. Or if you drop one of these electric type enemies in like a pool of water, or like maybe like a tiny little puddle, it'll do the same thing. It'll have like a dome effect on this electric. So it's really interesting to see how you can interact with the environment with all these kind of puzzle pieces you can kind of put together, and it's just really engaging to be like, oh, can I do that? It has the same kind of feeling that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom gives you, where it's like, oh, can I do that? Oh, I absolutely can. And there is another aspect to this puzzle solving, which at the beginning I wasn't the biggest fan of, but then you kind of have to turn off that part of your brain and be like, okay, this is if I was able to do this the way I wanted to, it would totally ruin all of the like puzzle mechanics of this game. There's kind of like this ultra handish type deal where you send out your little pixie sprite friend her name's Tri, based off the Triforce, at least that's what I got from it. And you send her out and she kind of she kind of enwraps whatever you send her at, and you can kind of move it around. If it's like too powerful of an enemy, it'll be you can only hold it for like a less amount of time. It'll be like just for a couple seconds you can hold on to it. And you use her to like move things in the environment that are on the same level as Zelda. And there are really interesting puzzles where you'll have to get something that's on the same level as Zelda to a higher plane, And so you'll have to put like down a table or a bed or something while you're holding this item to kind of move it up with you and have it hover with you. So it's really interesting to kind of figure out like the physics of this tool that it gives you. And it's just really, I've said it before, I've said it already, but it's just super engaging. And I've had a great time with this game. A lot of the dungeons are really interesting, and like there's all these optional puzzles you can do to get extra rupees to like buy. There's like these accessories you can get with rupees, and there's one that I've been using a whole lot, like nonstop. I've not switched off of it since I've gotten it. It's like a frog ring, and it essentially doubles the height of your jump.
Oh.
So typically Zelda can only go like one of the first echoes you get is a little table, right? And I would call that like probably like a half block, like a half step up. That's typically the height of your jump as Zelda. And then there's one step above that, which is like a crate. And with the frog ring, you can jump onto a crate rather than just on the table. And so that like opens up so many more things with the puzzle element, because with bringing these echoes out, you have, in order to kind of limit that so you're not just spawning everything so the Switch can handle it, you know, is you have like a limited charge amount at one time you can have summoned. So you'll start off with, I think, 3 charges. And so like a table is worth 1 charge, and you may get an enemy or like a stronger enemy or like a better thing that's worth 2. And so you can have one charge thing and 1 2 charge thing in order to do it, or 3 ones, you know. And then pretty quickly you'll end up going to 4. I haven't gotten to 5 yet. I feel like that's at the end of this current dungeon that I'm getting, because I was listening to the Kind of Funny review on this, and they did mention at some point 5 charges. So I have to assume that I'll end up getting 5 at some point. There's also echoes that I've gotten that are worth 5. So like it just has to. But there was one other thing I was going to get into with that, but I've lost my train of thought. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I want to dive in, because they jumped the first trailers that they showed just focused very much on spawning echoes and bringing echoes in and so forth. Is there like traditional combat in this game?
There is. So in the trailer you see Link kind of get captured into one of these like rifts. They call them rifts. The purple like nothingness, you know. And the whole thing is like there are characters that get thrown into these rifts, and sometimes like a copy of them will like be like an imposter and will come up. And so sometimes in some of these dungeons you'll run into a echo of Link, and you'll have to find a way to fight him. In the first instance that you fight him, he drops his sword. And so you go over and you grab his sword, and then you have on the D-pad now becomes, you can use I think they call it the like mighty sword or something like that. It's not the master sword.
Okay.
So you'll switch into like a Link form essentially, where you'll get the sword. It's like you have like a little bar on the top left of your screen that has like your energy. So like the amount of time you can use this Link form. And use this sword. And then I think a few hours back I got the upgrade where you also get a bow in the Link form.
Okay. How do these things feel? Like, how do they like? Is it just like simple 3-hit combos, or like how does it work?
It's not even really a combo. It's kind of just a single like sword slashes, and you can hold it down for a spin attack. I think you can hold down the bow for like a triple shot. In the opening like 30 minutes you play as Link before you get to Zelda, and you it kind of tells me that eventually I'll also get Link's bombs.
Okay.
Because you start off as Link and you get the sword, the bow, and bombs.
Got you.
So
okay, how does it feel to use these things in this one?
Not the most satisfying.
Okay.
It's actually kind of lame. And so like there are some obstacles that you run into that you have to use this Link form. And really the only times you're using this link form is for certain boss fights and for these obstacles you'll run into that can only be destroyed by this like mighty sword, or like you shoot at it with the bow and that kind of deal. But other than like those parts, I'm really a lot more interested in trying to craft a solution to, oh, there's all of these kind of mid-level to stronger enemies. I want to just spawn a bunch of these like crow enemies that can like basically swarm and take all these guys out, and it's really satisfying to watch. And it's, I saw a really funny gif, or not a gif, it was just a full-on video of from the Simpsons, the like nerd character. It's like, come to my aid, burly protector, because he's like being bullied, and that's kind of what it's like. So like you'll come to my aid, burly protector, send out a dark nut, and you know, this big suit of armor with a sword or an axe will come to your aid and save you.
Okay, cool.
And it's a lot of fun. I think this game it shows a lot of creativity in all of the ways that they imagine you to solve these puzzles, because kind of like I mentioned, like with a certain elemental versions of these enemies, they like, oh, they're giving you multiple options, right? So like you'll get a echo of a frog that summons rain, and so you can combo that with whatever electric type enemy you can send to do that kind of like dome electrical effect to like hit a bunch of electrical crystals.
Yeah.
Or like you'll get a echo of a statue to place on like a pressure plate, while Zelda also presses on a pressure plate in order to get through a door, right? And it's just super interesting, and it brings me back to playing things like Link to the Past and this top-down version of Hyrule. It just feels very familiar. And I think this is if you're a fan of these like classic 2D style Zelda games, you'll kind of be drawn back into this like land of Hyrule. They have some updated things. Like I don't believe back in the day there were like these two types of Zora. They kind of have like the Riverland Zora and the Oceanland Zora. And the ocean ones are more like these fish-headed, like kind of like their heads are like the sharks or like manta rays, whatever, kind of from Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. And then the river ones are more similar to the classic ones that you'd see in the older games.
Gotcha.
Where it's kind of just like little fins on their head, and that's really about it.
Gotcha.
You got Gorons, you got Gerudo. I did mention, I texted you, or I Discord messaged you whenever I went to the desert area, and I was like, oh man, I wonder how I'm gonna sneak into the Gerudo town. But no, I'm already a girl, so they're just gonna let me in.
Yeah.
You know,
they're cool with you.
Yeah, exactly.
How's it running? Switch is what, 8 years old now almost?
I know. And shockingly, I've had like maybe a couple instances of slowdown. You know,
okay.
I've been playing primarily while it's docked, and I haven't noticed anything crazy. This is a very simplistic, sounds too like derisive.
Well, I mean,
Link's Awakening,
the Link's Awakening remake had issues.
Oh, okay.
And the same team, same art style, same, yeah.
I mean, they must have cracked something in the code there, because I'm not experiencing that many like stuttering, nothing like that. I've seen a couple instances of slowdown, and that's really it. And that's primarily in docked mode. I haven't noticed anything like that while I'm in handheld.
All right. Sounds good. And I would assume narrative, you're looking at like just like a classic Zelda narrative, not too anything crazy here.
Yeah, it's your classic Zelda thing. You know, the only like kind of way they spice it up is that instead of you're playing as Link, you're playing as Zelda. And so it's just kind of interesting to see. There are characters that are like, because you know people don't always know Link, but most of everybody I know, oh my god, the princess, you're here to help, you know, and that's kind of like a interesting, like refreshing take on it. But you know, I'd say it's really only in Hyrule that you run into stuff like that, especially because like narratively, in the beginning you kind of get disguised in a way. Like you kind of wear this like
Mm,
cloak to kind of hide your identity, because the king gets sucked into a rift, and then he becomes an imposter, and he like frames you for, oh, Zelda's the one creating these rifts, you know. So like they lock you up, and then you escape. Basically, like you escaping is like the first big like puzzle ish type thing, you know.
gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Are you playing it? Are you gonna play it? Let us know down in the comments below. What do you think about the game if you are playing it? Phil, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, it's a lot of fun. I really like this game. It's definitely going to end up on my list by the end of the year. So
Fantastic. I'm excited to try it out. Just need this little money and time thing to work out for me. So we're gonna figure that out here ASAP for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want more reviews, previews, and reactions and general games media industry knowledge, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like and comment for more. Make sure you follow us on all of our social platforms down in the description below. And until next time, have a great time. Phil, say goodbye to the people.
bye.